if it feels like your leads are flaky and you can't get a hold of them when they come in, when they do come in, they're hard to book an appointment. When they book an appointment, they hardly show up. And God forbid, they actually show up for the appointment, they're not ready to buy and they got a trillion questions for us. A lot of that comes down to your lead processing systems. And I'm going to walk you through a system today we work with inside our growth plan members to implement. And it's how do you take a lead and ensure that they show up, and when they do show up, they're ready to buy. It's actually a lot of simple steps that you can take in the middle. Best of all, they're all automated. So I don't need to rely on my sales team doing anything. In fact, I can give them tools and firepower behind the scenes to help make their job even easier. So when they show up, the customer's ready to go. Let me share my screen. I'll walk you through exactly how it works. So most companies think heavily about marketing pipeline. This is your Facebook ads, your Google ads, how leads come into your company. And then we have sales pipeline. When I talk to most companies, and I say, talk to me about your sales process and your sales pipeline, they actually don't have any process. It's like, well, we give the lead to John and he's a pretty good sales rep, so he sells a lot of them. Or we give the lead to John and we're not really sure what happens. There's really no defined process there. Whereas if I say, tell me about your operations process, most companies have that highly dialed in. They're like, oh, cool. We take the contract, we look it over, we got a checklist in place, then we do all these things and all these steps to make sure the job gets built, we get budgeted, we get paid. It's because most contractors think that operations pipeline is where you make money. They're like, that's where I get to collect cash from my customers in my operations pipeline. Unfortunately, all the real money is made here in sales and marketing, okay? Marketing is complex. Most contractors, even very large ones, will sub that out to a marketing agency to help them there. And certainly I think that's a good idea once you get up to a certain size. Sales pipeline is something you absolutely should get control of right now, and there's systems and processes you can put in place to help you immediately. So let me walk you through what that looks like. So if we think about sales pipeline as being when something leaves the marketing pipeline, it is entering into our sales pipeline. And that usually happens when the client submits a lead form. And what we do is we call this a lead to appointment campaign. Our next goal when a lead comes into the system is to get them to an appointment. And we have to be diligent about how we do that. And we do that in my companies with what's called a lead to appointment campaign. And so this means that within 1 minute, we call, text, and email the customer automatically. It has to be within 1 minute. There's a stat in a study that said that if you wait more than 1 minute for you to call your customers after they filled out a lead form, you will never get a hold of them. 1 minute. You can imagine what that stat looks like in an hour, a day, a week, a month. Some contractors won't call their leads for weeks on end, which is crazy to me. Your chances of being successful converting leads when you are not calling them immediately is very, very, very low. You can imagine if 40% after 1 minute, again, was the number, and I just literally threw 40% of my marketing dollars in the trash, that would be astronomically expensive. And the reason's pretty simple. If you think about when you're filling out lead forms online, let's say you're looking for a new roof or siding or solar or HVAC or anything else, usually you're doing it not in front of your computer waiting for a call. You're doing it when you're in the pickup line at school, or when you're lying in bed and you're getting ready to watch a movie or go to sleep, or you're sitting at the table and things are coming out and you're waiting, you got a couple minutes to sneak in and this ad catches your eye and you fill out the form and you put it in. Then what happens? Your kids get in the car, the movie starts, the TV turns on, life happens. And like I said, most customers are not sitting there waiting for you to call. And so if you don't call them instantly and immediately establish that you are connected with this thing that they want, they're going to forget about you. In fact, a very common thing I hear is most of my leads say they never even filled out the form. And the reason for that is they forgot they filled out the form because you didn't associate yourself with that form right then and there. Whereas if you immediately contact them, they're going to be way more likely to pick up, remember what you're doing, and have an association with you. So you need to have a very clear plan of action for what's called a lead to appointment campaign. It's how diligently we move and how aggressively we move to get somebody booked into an appointment. I'll give you an example. So like I said, within 1 minute, we call, text, and we email a customer right out the gate to associate ourselves with them. Then we may wait 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and we do the same thing all over again. Then we wait an hour, we do it again. Then we wait 6 hours, we do it again. Within that first day, we have called, texted, or emailed them 3 or 4 times. Boom, 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 boom. I want them to be aware that they filled out a lead form and who I am. It's going to help pull that forward beyond a day. I certainly don't want to leave going more than a day without understanding what I'm calling about. Now the next day, I'm going to call a little bit less. So I may do, again, 3 times. If I did 4 the first day, I'll do 3 the second. Then I go maybe 2 or 3 the next day. And by day 5, if I've still not gotten a hold of them, I've probably sent them 20 texts and 20 emails and 20 phone calls. At that point, we can move them to a long-term nurture campaign, which I'll get to here in a second. But that level of diligence needs to be mapped out in your lead to appointment campaign. Now, while I'm talking about call, email, and text, the reason's really simple. Most of us don't pick up phone numbers that we don't understand, we don't know. We don't reply to, maybe I'm busy, I'm in a meeting, my kid's in the car. We need to have some stickiness to our messaging. And it's amazing how many contractors don't send an email and don't send a text. And if you're doing that today, if all you're doing is calling somebody, you are missing out. A large percentage of your population will never answer that phone call from you. Whereas if they got a text from you and said, hey, it's Steve, I just got your request for a free roof quote, let me know when you're available, and then I called with that phone number, and then I emailed you and it was the same phone number, I'd be like, oh, okay, this is Steve who's trying to get a hold of me for the roofing bid. You also want to make sure that within all of those communications, we allow the customer to take a step forward. This could be something as simple as, please reply here and let me know a good time to connect, or here's a link to my calendar to book a time so that we can talk through your project. We want to make it simple. I don't want to have to rely on them calling me back. I want them to be able to take action right then and there. The other reason we want this all automated is that sometimes leads come in the middle of the night. Again, if you think about that example of I'm lying in bed, I'm getting ready to watch a movie, an ad pops up, I'm like, oh, this looks cool. Let me fill my info out. You can't call me or something. I don't want you calling me at 11 o'clock at night. It's actually against the law to do that. But I still need a way to get in touch with that customer. Because if they go to sleep, wake up, kids got to go to school, there's things in life, the dog's got to go to the vet, like, they're not going to remember to call me back. Or certainly the next day they're going to see this weird phone number calling and they're going to be like, I don't know who this is. So you have to call, email, and text. Call, email, and text on every single one of those. Anyways, that's what we call a lead to appointment campaign. So like I said, we either book the appointment or we don't. And if we don't book the appointment, it goes to our long-term nurture campaign. Okay? Now, if we book an appointment, we need to try and get that appointment to sit. So often, contractors will say, I'm recording this on a Thursday, and let's say that appointment's for Tuesday. They're like, all right, Steve, I'll see you Tuesday at noon. And guess what? I got 4 kids. Life happens between today and Tuesday at noon. I don't even know what kind of chaos is going to hit my life. But maybe something happens, maybe it doesn't. But if I don't have a couple things in my book, I am not going to know what the hell we're talking about Tuesday at noon. I probably will forget it exists. And these are really common things that a lot of people forget. Number 1, you need to make sure that you have a calendar reminder in your appointment booking. Why? Because some people, like myself, if it's not in my calendar, I assume I don't have anything because everything's in my calendar. So if you told me Tuesday at noon is the appointment, guess what? I'm probably never going to remember that unless you sent me a calendar invite that said Steve and John connecting Tuesday at noon for roofing. Okay? So you have to make sure you get a calendar invite out for somebody. That's 1. You ever had something on your calendar where you're like, I don't know what this is, but I have something for Tuesday at noon and I can't remember what it was? That's a problem with, again, a campaign, what we call an appointment to sit campaign. When an appointment is booked, you need to keep contact with the customer between now and Tuesday so they remember what it is that you're there to talk about. Now, if all I did was email a customer 5 days in a row and said Tuesday at noon, don't forget Tuesday at noon, I'm going to come off desperate. I'm going to come off like I get no-showed all the time, and it just looks tacky. A better way to do it is to actually send some educational pieces of content to somebody and let them know that, hey, I want you to be prepared for our appointment Tuesday at noon. So for example, let's say I was a roofing company. I may send an email that said, hey, here's the top most common types of roofing shingles in America. Wanted you to know for our appointment Tuesday at noon. Here's 5 things to look for when hiring a contractor. Looking forward to seeing you Tuesday at noon. Hey John, I just shot a quick email about how to inspect your roof to see if there's roof damage. We'll cover this more Tuesday at noon when I'm out there. But you can see I'm providing some value for a customer. Doesn't have to be a complex or highly formatted video. In fact, in some of these cases, the less it looks like marketing, the better it's going to perform. Literally just type out the email and send it. And so you automate those things in there. So when I show up Tuesday at noon, John has an idea. Oh, you're the roofing guy. Hey, I watched this video that you sent me and it was full of great ideas. I had a question for you because you were talking about roof damage and I think I may be having these issues. Do you mind coming over here? My trust level is astronomically high when I show up Tuesday at noon. And I've mentioned Tuesday at noon over and over and over and over again. In fact, if you're watching this, you're probably gonna have Tuesday at noon stuck in your head for a little while, just because I've said it so many times. That's what I want my customer to hear. It's Tuesday at noon over and over and over and over again with some high value and some high trust stuff that they get to digest before I even get there, just so they're educated about what's going on. You know, ChatGPT and AI has made it so easy for everybody to become an expert on what's going on. They need our help deciphering through all that. There's a million great roofing products out there, but this is the one that's right for your home. And we can help do that if the client trusts us. So we want them to be smarter than they are right now and more educated. And then I want to come in and help them make decisions down the road. So that is our appointment to sit campaign. Our whole goal is to get them to sit the appointment. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes we have a no-show. And guess what? We got a rescheduling campaign. So the second my sales rep marks it as a no-show in the system, boom, we are off to rescheduling that appointment. And again, call, text, and email. All structured, all out there. Okay? Hey Steve, or hey John, I showed up Tuesday at noon at your house. Looks like you weren't there. I want to make sure everything's okay. When's a good time for us to reschedule? Here's a link to my calendar to rebook it. Okay? An hour later, hey John, hope all's well. I haven't heard from you. We were supposed to talk Tuesday at noon, a couple hours ago. Is everything okay? Let me know. P.S. Here's my calendar link if you need to talk. Right? We automate all those systems in place. And by the way, this doesn't need to be complicated, like I said, or take forever to set up. It actually goes pretty dang quick. All right, once we sit a job, did we make a sale or did we not make a sale? We have to differentiate there. What was the outcome of that appointment? If a sale was made, great. Go to our closeout process, get things to the operations pipeline. Ching, ching. Remember, that was the goal of the sales pipeline, was to get things to the operations pipeline. Now our highly organized operations team can go do what they need to do. If a sale was not made, we got another campaign, an immediate follow-up campaign. This one's probably the most deadly, and I'll save some of those secrets for the group within our growth plan community. If you want to know how that works and how to join it, I'll put a link down below for you guys. We have a whole video walking you through it, and we just try and be straight up, full transparent with how that program works. And if you'd like to apply, I'll show you how to apply. So watch the video down below if you want to check out how that one works. But immediate follow-up campaign. Once the sales rep marks it as a no sale, or even better yet, once a certain amount of time has passed after the appointment took place, it means I don't even need my sales rep to update anything. I'm going to assume that the job was not sold because they didn't mark it closed won and they want to get paid. And I'm going to immediately trigger off my follow-up campaign. And there's a lot of great systems you can put in place for those follow-up campaigns, but the important part is that they're structured, they're implemented. We got a plan of action there that goes and runs, and we make sure that we are always diligently following up with everybody in our follow-up campaigns. One of the things I hear all the time is my sales reps don't follow up enough. And I say, awesome, what's your follow-up process? And they don't have one. Put one in place. Make it easy, okay? Again, we got some cool stuff we do within our group and our community, which is amazing, and it helps out a ton. Most people see it and they're like, oh my gosh, this is great. And the best part is they're super simple to implement. But again, I'll save that for those guys, okay? Make sure you got it there. If we don't get a sale after we immediately follow up, guess what? It goes into our long-term nurture campaign. That's right. We got a long-term nurture campaign just to be in touch with people. I ran an HVAC company for several years, or I should say we had HVAC as part of one of my companies, and we won the fastest growing HVAC company on the West Coast as awarded by Samsung. And HVAC companies, the whole business model in HVAC is that you keep on top of your customers and you keep in communication with them so that when their HVAC system breaks, you're the guy they call. And you happen to be standing right there and you're like, hey, I get it. It's 115 outside. This part's on back order for 5 months. We could wait and you could cook in your house, or we can just put a brand new HVAC system in and have it in tomorrow. Which one would you prefer? But the whole HVAC business is built on being the guy standing there when the old one breaks. And so what you want to do through nurture campaigns is be top of mind. If they're not ready to buy a roof today, or siding, or windows, or whatever it is that you sell, and you are constantly the one showing up with value over and over and over again, talking about maybe your promo, here's some free things you can do. By the way, did you know we offer financing? That little tick in their brain is going to sit there, and then one day they're going to say, you know what, I've had enough of this. My roof is leaking. I got water coming in. You know, I got an email the other day from these guys that said that they have a special going on right now, and there's financing they got. Let me reach back out to them and see if I can get a bid. It's free marketing. You already bought the lead forever ago. Get it in your nurture campaign. Now, nurture campaigns should go back to marketing. We want that back in the marketing pipeline. And so if you're working with an ad agency today, if you have a CMO or somebody in-house that's handling your marketing, send it back to the marketing department. Why do I want long-term nurture to go back to the marketing department? Well, a couple reasons. Number one, sales reps are very, very bad at following up with very old pipeline like that. Like, you got to think, by the time these people have made it through all of our campaigns, all of the touch points we got going on, they're probably not super interested. And so I want to take that out of sales handbook. I want them to be fired up when a lead comes in and fired up by opportunity. And if they don't have a lot of opportunity, I want that to be clear. I don't want them to have this hope chest over here of 7,000 leads. They're like, oh, I'm going to have a great month. I got 7,000 leads here. No, you don't. You got like 2, right? We need them to focus on the hot stuff coming in. Get that back to your marketing department, and that way we know that it's happening consistently. So many times I see companies that say, well, my sales team does our long-term follow-up. I say, awesome, show me your long-term follow-up. And nothing has happened for years. It's a massive, massive waste of time and energy and money and opportunity. Okay, get those back to your marketing company. The other thing that your marketing company can do, and good marketing companies will do this, is they will do what's called retargeting campaigns or lookalike campaigns based on people that have already come into your system. So if you think about when you run an ad campaign, there's all these people in the general population that look at the ad and pass. Maybe they rent an apartment, maybe they're 15 years old, I don't know. There's all these people that are not the right customer. Then there's the people that click on the ad, and the ad appealed to them in some way. Then they come into your call center, and your call center screens them, or your company screens them in some way and determines that part of those are not a good fit. Again, maybe they're out of territory, or they're just not qualified. The ones that book an appointment are the most qualified of anybody. Like they've said, I'm ready, I'm a good fit. We've said they're a good fit. Our marketing company can take that data and send it back to Google and Facebook and say, send me more of these people. These people are the ones I want. Not the people that, are broke and live over here. I want these people that can afford to move forward my products and services. And so your marketing company is going to use that data to make things even better for you on the front end. So we want marketing involved in what's happening in the sales side and sending some of those things back to them for feedback. On the flip side, if we disposition things and say, hey, you sent a bunch of garbage in, and it's all a bunch of, people that live in motorhomes or something like that. I got a fifth wheel, so don't trip out, okay? But, hey, this is what's going on. This is not who we want. They can also use that stuff to re-hone those campaigns and maybe target a little bit better than they're doing today. So it closes the cycle and makes sure those things are there. So, like I said, the most important thing is making sure that you understand that your sales process deserves its own process, the same way that your marketing and your operations team have their own pipelines and process. It needs to be managed. When you manage it correctly, you actually get salespeople fired up to update their Salesforce or their Zoho or their CRM, whatever it is for you. They get excited to do that. I know getting salespeople to do those kind of activities normally is pretty challenging. They're like, oh, I only update it when I sell something. When you go this style of model, they actually get helped by updating opportunities and keeping things updated because they know I have a whole team behind me that's firing off emails and text messages and campaigns on this person, and I don't even have to do anything. Whereas if it sits here, A, it's probably going to get taken from me anyways, but B, I don't have all that help that's going on behind the scenes to help me actually close this job. Those little things like that. When you start talking about 40% of your leads going in the trash and half of them show up, and then when they show up, you got a 10% close rate, you will pretty much never have marketing be profitable for you if you have those kind of metrics. The people that are crushing it on Facebook and Instagram and Google and all the paid media sites run systems very similar to this. Now, I don't think they're as good as ours or as detailed, but these are the things that I used to sell $1 million days when I was running my sales teams, and that we use with all of our clients today in the growth plan. So, like I said, if you want to check that out, I'll put a link down below for you. In the meantime, good luck with it all. Put it in place. I promise it will change your business. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.